thank you so much for taking time to speak today.
Oh my God, thank you, Kyle, for, taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, it's an honor, so I appreciate it. Ustad Zakir, you've been playing concerts in Indiana for many years, but in the last few years, you've had a very steady presence in Indiana. Is this starting to feel like a second home to you here?
It feels like, arriving in a place where I feel comfortable performing. I know the audience, they know me, and so it's great to be there. And what's interesting about playing in a place like that is that you get a very diverse audience and a very discerning audience, because they are the kind of people who are like an interesting combination of traditional listeners and techie listeners. Traditional are the ones who already know about you, and the techies are the ones who actually go out there and find out about you on their fingertips, Google and YouTube and Facebook, whatnot. And so you arrive on the stage with this, knowledge that most of the audience are aware of what you're going to do, and you feel like as if you're playing in India with audiences that are totally having grown up with your music and you having grown up playing for them. So in that sense, it's an amazing place to come and play. No need to explain anything. No need to simplify stuff. No need to water things down. Just go out there and do your stuff, and you know that they are with you, all the way.
Yeah. I know for certain that you played here with Shakti in 1977, but you had told me during a previous conversation that you played here with Shanti, one of your early groups, in around 1970. Do you have memories of being in Indianapolis at that time, 1970s?
Yes, I do. I remember, it was for me, having just come from India, because I arrived here in early 1970 in America, and on that tour, I ended up going to places like Beloit, Wisconsin, and seeing those towers where you store grains and stuff, and my Indian mind kept thinking, oh, is this where they keep their rockets or something? But anyway, so Indiana was, again, for me, coming from Mumbai or Bombay, I was looking for this big metropolis, and instead I found a city which was a very interesting combination of modern dwellings and traditional dwellings. And so it was like, wow, this is it's not as big as Mumbai, and it doesn't have as many people on the streets. I would look out the window and I say, where are the people? You look in Mumbai and there's people elbow to elbow on the streets, but not here. And it felt like, oh, is anybody going to come to the show? But again, the kind of music we were playing then was just something so unusual for that time. But again, we had a great time, I remember, playing there. And it was amazing to see so many people who are not Indians sit in the audience and groove to the music, and it was great fun. So 1970 Shanti, and then coming with Shakti, and in between, I think, and even in recent times, I have come with my Masters of Percussion tour and traditional Indian classical music tours, and so it feels very, very comfortable to be coming to Indianapolis.
Yeah. I believe this Shanti album was one of the first recordings you made. I'm a big fan of your music, and I have a lot of your.
Well, you see that one in your left hand just went by. Yeah. That was the first stereo recording ever made in India. There was this company called Monitor Records, which came to India saying that we would like to make a stereo recording and introduce stereo recording in the studios in India. And they asked if there are musicians who could play. And we were asked to do it, me and Shamim. And I remember coming into the studio, and normally we sit on one riser next to each other, and we are listening to each other and playing off each other. But whoever was the engineer for Monitor Records decided that he wanted separation, and so to show red, left, and right channel. And so he put each of us in different corners of the studio, and the room was at least 30 feet long. And so we were that far apart from each other, and we could barely hear each other. And there were no headphones or anything, and we had to try and play. And I started playing harder because I wanted Shamim to hear me at the other end of the room. And the engineer said, no, please don't do that. You're distorting. And so that's how that first recording got done, Monitor Records. And Shanti, of course, was my first ever recording in United States after arriving here. And so soon after arriving here was amazing.
Yeah, your music has continued to evolve and expand since those days, and you've continued to grow your audience here in the United States and make many artistic breakthroughs. And before we talk about your upcoming concert, I want to congratulate you on your recent success at the Grammys, which was,
thank you very much.
Yeah, a historic achievement. You're the only Indian musician to win 3 Grammys in one night, and you've now joined Ravi Shankar and Zubin Mehta as the most Grammy wins for an Indian musician. You've won 5 Grammys now. Congratulations, and what are your reflections on that award?
Well, I have to say I've been very lucky. I've always said that, I was already on the bus when the bus took off. So in that sense, I have had opportunities that came my way because of my associations with various musicians. And, when I arrived here, I arrived in America to play with Ravi Shankar. That led to me teaching at the University of Washington in Seattle, which led to me coming to the Bay Area to teach at Ravi Shankar's brother-in-law's school, Ali Akbar Khan. And that led to me meeting Mickey Hart of Grateful Dead, and meeting John McLaughlin, who came to the school as well. So and that led to so many different associations, and so I have to thank my lucky stars that I was brought to some of the most incredible creative artists in the world who saw something in me that they could use and brought me along, and which finally led to this incredible moment of Grammys, and I could not have done it without them, and I just have to give credit to John McLaughlin or to Ravi Shankar or Mickey Hart and so on and so forth, and then Bela Fleck and Edgar Meyer, who we made this album As We Speak with, but also won 2 Grammys. So it's an amazing life that I have lived with all these incredible connections with musicians, and so a lot of thanks to them, a lot of gratitude towards them, and I guess I had to provide what they needed from me, and I guess I was able to do that. So yes, very much a humbling experience to be standing next to these people, shoulder to shoulder, and being recognized like Ravi Shankar and Zubin Mehta, and it's just something that just humbles you. And I look up in the sky and say, what did I do to deserve this? But lucky me.
You have a very special concert coming up here in Indiana. You'll be performing with the Santoor player Rahul Sharma on November 1st. This concert will pay tribute to Rahul's father, Shivkumar Sharma, who sadly passed away in 2022. Shivkumar Sharma is credited with introducing the Santoor to Indian classical music. He was a very successful performer. His 1968 album, Call of the Valley, was a breakthrough album for Indian classical music. You performed and recorded often with Pandit Shivkumar Sharma. Tell me about your relationship with him and the importance of his music.
Well, I have 3 or 4 mentors in my life who have helped shape the way I turned out finally. I learned my music from my father, of course, but I needed to sound it off with other musicians to be able to find a way to be able to create my way of speaking my music, and that you have to do with through interaction with other musicians, and so there are these 3 or 4 people who have been very important in my life. I would say Ali Akbar Khan, Ravi Shankar, John McLaughlin, Mickey Hart, and I have to say that in the prime place amongst them is Pandit Shivkumar Sharma. I started playing with him when I was about 16 odd years old, and he was closer to my age. Even then, even though he was about 10 years older, he was closer to my age in the sense that we started our professional careers together, and then he was someone I used to sound off with, can I do this? Can I do that? And he was the one who was very generous on stage with me, allowing me to make a fool of myself sometimes and allowing me to, grab the spotlight. And that was all right with him. And, offering suggestions and being, kind of a role model, an elder brother. And so for 40 years, we played together all over the world. We did at least, I think, 7 or 8 tours of United States in that period of time. And it got to a point where audiences just presume that if Shiv Kumar is playing, Zakir will be playing with him, or vice versa. And so it was like that. And so for me, losing him was a very important and significant part of my life, that kind of or chapter that was finishing, but a closure has to be. So it is important that I sit with Rahul, his son, who is a worthy successor, probably the best Santoor player around in India now, and pay tribute, pay homage, apply closure to this chapter and move forward and with Rahul and his view of what his father's music is to him, and see if I can find a way to connect with his interpretation of it and carry on further with him.
Your performances with Rahul are electrifying, and they've really captivated the public's interest. The videos of your performances on YouTube have millions of views, and there are also videos of people reacting, photographing themselves reacting to those images. Tell us about your work with Rahul and the impact it's had on the internet.
Well, one of the things with Rahul is that, he brings his father's music onto the stage, and so there is familiarity there, and therefore a place to begin with. As you know, Indian music, the 2 musicians who get on the stage, there is no pre-planning in the dressing room or in a rehearsal or anything. You get on the stage, and so the Santoor player will introduce a melody, and I would have to find a groove that goes with it. And then from there on, it's trade, speak to each other, and find a way to support each other. And so in order to do that, you have to know the person very well. You have to know where he comes from, what he likes, what he drinks, what he eats, what he reads, and all that kind of stuff, and get that person's whole life inside of you, so that you can then make that conversation a meaningful one. And so to do that with Rahul was easy because of my association with his dad. But over the years, I've noticed playing with Rahul that he has started to introduce his own persona into the interaction, and that has really become very exciting and challenging, because we are not just doing the tried and true, we are not doing the familiar, but we are taking the familiar and moving it into an area where we can expand it further. And that allows me to actually look at nooks and corners in my repertoire that I may have not visited in decades. And so have Rahul come and poke me in that area. I'm able to kind of, in some ways, reinvent myself, find a different way to speak to that conversation which I used to have with Shivkumar Sharma. And so in that sense, it's very a lot of fun, and people are noticing that. Audiences are noticing that it's not a monotonous, stale representation of what was, but it's a new take and new speak on that connection with Shivkumar.
Before we go, I had a random question to ask you, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I recently saw a video. I mean, you've collaborated with some of the greatest musicians in the world, right? And I recently saw a video of you from 1997 performing with the legendary Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan.
Yeah.
This video was taken just a few months before he passed away. His music has continued to live on and touch new generations of listeners. What was that like collaborating with him? Do you have any memories of that?
Oh, it was amazing. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan was, we never talk about all this stuff, but he was a family friend. He was a family member. In fact, when he first came to India from Pakistan, the house that he came to was our house. And he stayed there. And he was not well known at that point. And I remember there was a special ceremony for my daughter in my home, and he sang for that ceremony, and I played with him in my house. Unfortunately, in those days, we didn't have cell phones or video cameras and all, so we didn't really record that. But he, again, was a visionary, somebody who took, like Shivkumar Sharma, he found a way to be able to, tell the same old story in a way that vibed with and was relatable with the audiences of today. And he was able to do that. He was electrifying. He was magnetic on the stage. And, so when you talk about some of the great stage personalities, whether it's Ravi Shankar or Zubin Mehta or Beatles or anybody, you would have to say that Nusrat Fateh Ali is on that shelf. But again, a very simple human being, a very generous with his love, his affection, and for him to just agree to just sit there and sing for my daughter's thing, in my living room. Amazing. So it is in fact like playing with a brother. We're practically the same age. He's, I think, about a year and a half older than me. So in that sense, it was like playing with a brother, playing with a friend, and we enjoyed each other. We actually played a concert at the Lincoln Center in New York some years before that. And it was great to play with them in Lincoln Center, and we had a great time playing the concert. So he and I went back a little bit, and it was very comforting to be on stage with him. And he sang like he was a rhythm player. It was an amazing thing. So I could just, there was an open door for me to be able to rhythmically interpret what he was doing, because what he was doing had so much rhythm, so much tempo, a groove in it that, it was easy to lock into that and hang on for dear life. It was fun.
Ustad Zakir, you'll be performing in Central Indiana at the Palladium on November 1st. I look forward to seeing you perform here again. It's always an honor to talk to you, and I sincerely appreciate you taking a few minutes to
It is my
today.
pleasure, Kyle. Thanks again for calling me.
Absolutely. See you in Indianapolis. Take care.
See you in Indianapolis. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.